Hello, hello. Welcome to Inside Out Alignment. Mary is here, your host. Well, today we have Diane King with us. And Diane is a hypnotherapist, which has been a lifelong passion of hers. We started when she was 15, along with other complementary therapies such as Reiki, Aromatherapy, Reflexology, Thermo-auricular Therapy. Diane chose to focus on hypnotherapy because everything comes down to the mind body connection, and she wanted to go direct to the mind. What she loves about this is that she gets clients that wants to really understand what is happening in the mind. So this gives her an opportunity where she most likely can pass, where the clients can pass this to their children and others they know, which spreads the knowledge that which is so powerful for human beings that we are, to get to have that control of their thoughts and turn that control out in their health and their life. So Diane, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for being here with us. It is a blessing and an honor to have you here.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Okay, Diane, when we're thinking about hypnotherapy, and it's like somebody's a 15-year-old being interested in hypnotherapy. Can you tell us a little bit about that? We'll start with that.
Yeah, I suppose it does seem strange. I never thought it was strange. So from a young age, I was always, I would say, concerned about people's thoughts. I didn't understand. So I didn't understand why someone would be happy one day, miserable the next. And I didn't understand moods. I just couldn't fathom it out. Why wasn't people just nice? I didn't. That's at a very young age. And I was quite shy because I didn't really, I used to try and work people out, especially if they changed. I couldn't understand it. But I also had ill health. And so when I was 11, I started looking at herbs and vitamins, which started with my grandfather, because I lived with my grandparents, and he used to take a multivitamin and he used to do some exercises because he'd been in the army. And so I got the same multivitamins as him. That was at 11 to help my health.
Mm-hmm.
And then my nan was quite into esoteric stuff. So she would go to seances and stuff. She was Catholic. So if anything happened, she'd get her rosary beads out and start praying to Mary, Hail Mary, this, that, and the other. But she was quite down to earth. But she was interested in tarot, mediumship, and stuff like that. So I was interested in that as well. So yeah, so I suppose that all comes back to perhaps hypnotherapy was kind of along those lines in them days. It has changed a lot how people think of it now, more as a therapy. But so at 15, we had this hypnotherapist in our town. And I used to see him, and I couldn't look at him because when I went past him, because I used to think his eyes could hypnotize you. And so I booked a hypnotherapy session with him to stop biting my nails. And I wasn't fussed about not biting my nails, but I just wanted to have hypnotherapy. So I took my mum with me. And as soon as he spoke to me, I was gone because of his eyes. But I became quite a good friend of his, and over the years, so I didn't see him for a few years, and then in the 80s when I was 20, he went over to, he'd had been trained as a hypnotherapist, and that was his job. And he used to talk to me about this guy, this hypnotherapist in America called Gil Boyne. And one day he said, I'm going over to America to this event Gil had put on, and he came back all full of it and he was practicing it. But he used to have workshops as well. So he might have car salesmen or anyone that was a salesperson, and he trained them how to, the power of the mind, how to negotiate, probably a bit of NLP in there, neuro-linguistic programming. So mirroring someone and then getting them over to you, sort of thing. Okay. They used to have these workshops, and he would like improve your awareness, your health, like if you set goals and stuff like that. So I used to go to them over the years. And sometimes I just used to go and see him and have a cup of tea. And he trained me in hypnotherapy. And I did do some, but because of the children growing up and everything, I couldn't go away to be trained. We didn't have a local school, and I didn't have the money really to be trained. I wish I had pursued it, because you can always find a way. But anyway, I didn't. And yeah, so that's kind of how I started. But yes, I've always believed in the power of the mind, always. And I've had experiences of different things, you know, like thinking of something out of the blue and it happens, and thinking about things, setting goals. Because even though I was interested in astrology, palm reading and stuff like that, I decided that you make your own life, you make your own path with your thoughts. So I started to be aware of that. And it is really powerful. And then I just got into complementary therapies, aromatherapy, reflexology, and the Thermo-auricular Therapy is ear candles. I don't know if you've heard of that. Gets the wax out.
Of the ear.
The hoppy ear candles, yeah.
Wow, interesting. And you talk more about like the mind. How powerful is our mind?
Well, it's very powerful, because the subconscious mind takes instructions from the conscious mind, whether that's good or bad. So, you know, the subconscious mind's below the surface, and the conscious mind's like the captain of the ship. So whatever it says, the subconscious mind will act upon that, good or bad. So if you keep saying something over and over again and keep thinking about it, it will happen. It will be brought to you. It will happen. But interestingly, if you watch your thoughts and change a negative partway through to make it a positive, keep doing that, your life will change. And you can bring all sorts of things. It's like magic. You can bring all sorts of things into your life.
Right. And so talking about, if we change our thoughts, when we have to be able to control our minds through our thoughts, about the thoughts that come in, being able to filter that. Do you have like a strategy that helps people on how to be able to be more attentive and being aware of those thoughts that are not, helping us to thrive, or helping us in such a way that we can build something that will be worthwhile, but not thoughts that will harm us or maybe harm those around us, or which is not actually being of having a positive impact in our life. So is there any pathway or how you guide people to be able to interrupt those thoughts to enhance the positive ones?
I think the first thing you have to do is be aware, and perhaps initially to be mindful in the day, all day long, and perhaps have a pad and a pen of what you're actually thinking, because you're not aware of the day, are you really, until you stop and think
Right.
about your thought. And then after that, what I do now as well is I set an alarm on my phone just for 10 minutes to meditate and to try and think of nothing, or do self-hypnosis. But if you set it for 5 minutes even, or 3 minutes, if you start off like that, and then just try and think of nothing. If a thought comes into your head, just let it pass, or flip it and think of a positive instead of the negative. Think of the good. But also, if you're watching a lot of TV, if you're reading papers, if you're watching films that are quite violent, and that does play on your mind. I don't watch any of that, and I've got so bad now that I won't even watch anything. If it's a crime thriller, which I used to like, I think, oh no, I don't think I'll watch that, because I'm so aware, and I don't watch any of it. So really, it is about, calming your mind with meditation. Meditation's really good. But some people think, oh, I haven't got time for meditation. But even if it was 5 minutes
Mm-hmm.
to do that. And another good thing as well, if you want to help yourself, and perhaps you get sad or you get angry or you get frustrated, think of where that is, where that energy is, where that feeling is, and then write down what's happened, write what you're thinking at that time, and write the emotion attached to that, and then see where that leads you, because it always leads you back to something.
Right.
So it's kind of a good that's kind of a good way to go about it, isn't it, really? Thinking about the thoughts you think, because your mind just runs off, doesn't it, with different thoughts all the time.
It wanders, yeah.
Yeah, and things can play on your mind. So if there's something, sometimes I stop watching something if it's upsetting, because I start thinking about it and it plays on your mind and it gets bigger. And the more you think about it, the more it impresses. And then the bigger it gets, and you're emotionally charging it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's getting bigger. And and it really affects your body, because your mind and body are connected, aren't they? Because if you're driving
effectively
a car and you look over to the right or to the left and you stay there for a while, your hand will turn the wheel slightly, even slightly, it will turn, because your mind is looking over there.
focus somewhere.
Automatically, the motor action, not the car, as in the body, is starting to turn, because you don't think about it, do you? The parasympathetic nervous system, it automatically happens, like with our heart and stuff. But you can, if you don't like going to the doctor, you get that white coat syndrome, your heart start going. Well, it's the thought, isn't it? Your heart isn't just going because you're going to a doctor, it's just going into a room. Why would your heart go like that? It's because of the thought starts making it happen. And that's why people have, rashes and things like that. Obviously, it can be tied to diet as well. But sometimes, if everything's been eliminated, then there may be a reason, something that's happened in the past that's causing that. Yeah.
Wow. Thanks for sharing that with us. That's really inspiring. So you also talk about aromatherapy. What is that about, and what does it do? How do you have interest in this, and what's the function? How does it? What is the link between it and hypnotherapy?
Well, aromatherapy is the mixing of essential oils which are taken from a plant, and depending on when I did my training for aromatherapy, it would be prescriptive aromatherapy. So you'd have a consultation and then mix the oils according to what the issue was of the client. But with aromatherapy, so when you're massaging the client, so you mix them with a base oil and you do a full body massage, your olfactory, your smell senses is heightened. So but what happens when the olfactory system takes the smell of the oil and it goes up here, it crosses the blood-brain barrier. And I think it does that through the skin as well. It gets into the capillaries, and when it gets there, it crosses the blood-brain barrier. So it has an effect on your emotion, on your parasympathetic nervous system, so it can calm you down. And also the smell can, if it's a familiar smell to you, have a reaction on the body, because you might remember the smell. If it is a smell that you remember, and that would have an effect because your mind would think of that, and You know, just say if it was lavender, that's quite an old smell that people used to have years and years ago. So it might have been a grandmother that someone loved. So that would have an effect on them.
That,
They might feel comforted, you know, if it was a happy emotion, etc. And that's why in hypnotherapy as well, you don't wear any perfume, have any scents around or candles,
mm-hmm.
because that person could come in, smell a smell. I mean, a lady or a man could come in and smell a smell. If you had the perfume on, it might be the narcissistic boyfriend or girlfriend that they had. Therefore, they're not going to really like you, are they? They're going to instantly look at you and think, no, and it's probably wouldn't work.
Yeah, because it brings that memory, that maybe negative memory.
Yeah, and that's just the smell, but the smell has triggered an emotion and a thought.
Right.
Yeah, so with every thought is an emotion, a belief. It's the belief that we attach to the words, and then it's got an emotion to it, and there's an action associated with it.
Yeah.
So
So when you talk about the mixing of the oils,
yeah.
is there, I know there are so many oils. You have
Mm.
almond oil, peppermint oil, yeah, so many, so many, so many oils, lavender and all that. So is there like a particular way you mix the oils, or is there a sequence, or is there a combination, a particular combination on how you do this and how you actually apply them, or how?
Yeah, so there's a ratio. So you would have, I believe, I don't do it anymore. I believe it's 10 ml of the base oil, so the almond oil, which is an even consistency, grapeseed oil, which is quite light, and I use that on my body and hair because it's quite light. There's a viscous oil, which is avocado oil, is quite, and if a man is, if you're massaging a man is quite hairy, that's quite good because it can move over. It's not, you know, it's quite heavy, and so you would add so many drops to that 10 ml, but the blend would be to do with the ailment, and there's so many blends you can do, but you would also blend with how it's going to smell. So certain oils go together, like you've got the citrus oils. Lavender goes with everything, and
Mm-hmm.
lavender is an all-rounder. It's a really safe oil. And of course, if the client is allergic to lemons or citrus, doesn't like it, you wouldn't use that.
Right.
So they're quite powerful. When we was at, we learned all the contraindications, and one of them was, you know, for us, or to tell your clients, never drop essential oils in the bath. Make sure they are mixed the right ratio with the base oil. But I just thought, oh, it doesn't matter. And I put these oils in the bath. They didn't really disperse, but I burnt myself. So that's how
Mm-hmm.
powerful they are. Yeah, it left a burn up when it hadn't dissipated in the bath. And yeah, and also, you know, if someone's got a cold or a bit unwell, you wouldn't massage them, because you're moving the lymph system, which moves through massage and exercise, and so you're pushing the cold around the body on its way out.
Uh-huh.
And so what they might feel the effects of in 3 days, you're doing it in an hour, and they could feel ill because suddenly they're bombarded with all these toxins going through the body. They would, you know, it wouldn't be quite good. So you wouldn't probably massage someone if they had a heavy cold. Main
Wow, that's
tip.
good to know. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because it's, I mean, you could, yes, you can massage it out of you, really, because every time you massage um, away from the heart, but you massage to the lymph nodes.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's quite powerful. Hmm.
And the Thermo-auricular Therapy.
I love
So,
that. I've just bought some more ear candles actually for
okay.
myself. I don't do it anymore. I do it on myself though. It draws the wax out of the ears
I have four
without.
kids. I have 4 kids, so I need to know that.
So what they've done now, because my mum, her ears used to get really blocked up, and I think mine do. That's where I get it from. In the hospitals now here, they do have a machine which mimics these ear candles. It sucks it out, and you can see it on the screen as it's cleaning the wax out. But when I trained, it was a weekend course, and our papers were marked by a consultant audiologist, and if that's the right word. But there was we had the auroscopes, and so she got us to look in everyone's ear with the auroscope, and inside the ear you've got cilia, the little hairs that stick up,
Yeah.
and when you look in there, this cilia, in between it is clumps of wax. Then when you do the ear candle and it's drawn the wax out, and you look again with the auroscope, it's all clean, and the cilia is all upright, all clean in there. It's really lovely. So how it works, you have to be careful what ones you get, because the internet sell quite a lot, and some of them are wax and it can burn the face, so you have to be careful. But you never used to be able to get them now, but you can get them in our local health shop, and I can get them at I belong to a wholesalers, a hairdressing, and you can get aromatherapy oils there, and they sell them.
Mm-hmm.
So initially, and I still get them, are the Hopi ear candles, HOPI. And so the Hopi Indians used to use them to clear all the negativity out of their head before meditation. And that's what they use them for. And when you do use them, it clears all the sinuses.
Oh.
That's really good. And the Hopi ear candles are made of flax. They're impregnated with oils, and so they have beeswax to seal. So if anyone's allergic to that, they shouldn't have them, but you would do a consultation before. So, always look at the ingredients. It will say that on there.
Mm-hmm.
So then they're rolled up. If I'd have known I was going to talk about that, I'd show you, because I have bought some.
Okay.
So they're about that long. How long's that? About 8 inches, would you say? I'm not very good. And then about an inch at the bottom, there's a little like a little disc in there that stops the backflow of the wax going in the ear. And there's a line.
Oh.
So then what you do is you lie on this side, and then you put the ear candle in and you light it. And so usually you have something around here, because the ash can fall off, but it doesn't burn, not on the Hopi ear candle. And you just sit there with it, and till it burns down. There's a red ring which is just above that little device that stops it going back in, and it burns down. Then when you open it up, you can see all the wax in there that's come out, and you can hear better. And also, you do a test before. You close one nostril and sniff, and the other one. When you do it after, there isn't anything there. There isn't any mucus or nothing.
Nothing.
But you have to be careful of if you've had problems with your ears and you've put in oil in them, or you've got antibiotic oil from the doctor, you should leave it probably 48, 72 hours after the last lot, because the heat can burn inside. And not a perforated eardrum either. But what it does, when the heat goes down, it's like a chimney effect. So as the heat goes down, so you set it, it's flaming, and the heat is going down the candle.
Mm-hmm.
It goes inside the canal, and then it starts moving around like a whirlpool, like a chimney effect. And then it sucks up and then it draws it up, and you can see it in the candle. It goes to the top and it drops down. That's the, yeah. It does state on the candles now that the wax inside isn't wax from your ear, but I believe it is. I don't know why they've put that, because if it's hard wax, it's hard. If it's
Right.
powder, it's new wax, and you can see it in the
Right.
ear. So I don't know why they've put that, but for whatever reason. But it doesn't matter. It works. It's good. It's
Right.
safe.
And then
It's
you feel better, as you said, you hear better too.
yeah, and it clears your sinuses. So, my husband had viral labyrinthitis, which is a virus in the labyrinth of the ears, and he was in hospital for a week, flat out on a drip. It was really bad. Anyway, his ears were bad after that, and he had to keep them dry. They kept getting infected, so he had a weakness there. So if he had a shower or went swimming, he would always have earplugs in. He was always at the doctor's for antibiotic drops. So in the meantime, I'd done this course, and I said to him, I'll do your ears. And I did them for 5 days because they were really getting bad for him and the drops weren't working.
Right.
And then when he went back to the doctor, I said, oh, don't tell the doctor, because he was my husband. I wouldn't do it on the public. But
Sure.
I could experiment on him. And he wanted it. So I said, oh, don't tell the doctor. So he went back to the doctors, and the doctor said to him, your ears are remarkably clean and dry. He said, never seen anyone's ears. So he went, what are you doing? He said, oh, nothing.
Nothing.
I'd sworn him to silence. So, yeah, and I did it for 5 days because he was really bad. And then I did it twice a week, and then we got down to once a week, and then once a month, or whenever he needed them, and it kept it at bay. Yeah, it kept it at bay. But, you know, like I say, you just have to be mindful of the contraindications, and you can probably look that up online, and they do have a leaflet in there, so it would list all that, because it's sold to the public now, whereas when I did it, it wasn't.
It wasn't, right.
Yeah, so you would get all that in there. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah.
We learn every day.
I know, it's amazing. So simple. I mean, when I used to go to the doctors when I was younger and have my ears syringed, it was painful. Burst this water in, and then they'd get this lump out, and it hurt. So this doesn't hurt at all. You can hear like fire. It's quite loud, like a crackling, but there's nothing to worry about. Yeah.
Good to know. Thanks for sharing.
Yeah.
So Reiki, you also do Reiki.
Oh yeah, yeah. I love Reiki.
What is that about?
Reiki is really a healing energy that you use your hands, you can feel the energy come out, and you heal over the body. You can do it distant as well. So that's really powerful. But, you know, they've given it the name Reiki, but really it's healing. It's healing. I found out about healing through Reiki, and that's how I learned. Since I learned that really it's healing. It's all healing. It doesn't really matter about the name. Anyone can do it. You know, you're focusing, that energy's coming out. You feel the energy come out like a tingling. And then I actually see it as well. That's really powerful. So, well, my partner came in tonight and he said, oh, do you know what I've done? I shut my finger in the door. I was doing this and the door shut, the car door. And he's got this big lump on his finger. And I said to him, I'll do some Reiki on that later.
Wow.
And he goes, oh, okay. And it's only you saying that, thinking, oh yeah, I just think it's normal, you know. Anyway.
That is a beautiful thing, like to have somebody, who have all these little techniques and ways of taking care of issues, and of the body, understanding the body. Because one thing I also understand, you talk about Reiki, the healing, that is energy, and you can do it, the distance really doesn't matter. And I have that firm belief that there is no distance in the realm of, the spirit. And
Mm.
I think that is usually what it is. Maybe even using that
Yeah,
that technique maybe to heal,
yeah.
because it's you're concentrating on something and you are sending that energy out there. So it is easy for that connection to actually take place. And I do sometimes, maybe even in prayers or things like that, even being very far, people effect a lot of changes. Just like Dr. Joe Dispenza, he does his sessions and he's right there online. People are in their homes and all that. And there are so many changes and many testimonies.
Mm.
It's just being in connection and being mindful and being present in the moment, having that consciousness of uh, and recognizing that whatever is being done, you're part of it, and there is that connection, that human connection between us. And I think the job that you're doing, having that working from the mind, uh, and helping people to control, helping control their thoughts and all that, it's the world needs it, and especially during this unprecedented time, it is time for us to be more connected and to be more in that space of making sure we recognize that which we have.
Mm. And prayer is healing.
Yeah,
That's, what I was saying earlier. I learnt it through Reiki, and so I believed that.
definitely.
Whereas I didn't really know about prayer. I wasn't
Hmm.
sure, but I do now. But it is, and it's the intention, like you say. And
Right.
also when it's collective, it's so powerful, isn't it?
Yes.
It calms everything. They did that experiment, didn't they, with a couple of the war-torn countries,
Hmm.
and when they all prayed at a certain time, that collective prayer, there was a calmness at that time. And they
Hmm.
measure the Schumann resonance, don't they, as well, of the earth. And the Schumann resonance is I think before the Twin Towers, it started going high, and they didn't know why it was going high. So that was kind of suggesting, I believe, that in the unconscious mind, people knew something was going to happen without consciously knowing. And I think the other time it happened was when Princess Diana got killed. Before she got killed, I believe, I'm not certain, I'd
Seven.
have to check, I'm sure the Schumann resonance went up. And I'm sure I read the other day, yeah, I did. Someone tweeted it, look at the Schumann resonance, and it was up. And I
Wow.
thought, oh, what's going to happen? So usually something big happens.
Happens.
Yeah. So that's interesting. And that's the earth, isn't it?
It
So I
is.
believe that's, we're connected to the earth. The earth is a living organ, if that's what you'd call it. And we're all vibrating, aren't we? Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, we are.
So
I
yeah, it's
also,
so powerful.
it is, it is, it is. You had a turning point in your life when you had your daughter. So how was that a turning point? I know when you have a child, you're thinking about how you take care of them, what you do. You're trying to figure out, there's a lot that comes in a way. So, um, can you tell us a little
Yeah.
about?
I think what it did, it stabilized me and gave
Hmm.
me a purpose. I I was quite I felt quite lost up until that point. And when I had her, I felt like there was a purpose to go on. You know, I've always loved babies anyway. I've always loved babies from being a small child.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it was a purpose, and my life didn't have any meaning to it. And yeah, it kind of made me focus, and I had her to look after. That that's what it, I mean. If I didn't have her, I would have probably travelled. I didn't really care. I didn't care about people. I've never been like that. Just didn't really care about myself. I just didn't really care. I just felt really sad. So yeah. So when I had her, it was purpose.
You feel like there was a greater calling for you.
Yeah, I had her to look after, and she was my life.
Right. That this
Yeah.
is a responsibility, and you're responsible for her. So you have to take everything, heads up. You
Yeah.
have to
Yeah.
get out of that space where of unhappiness, because you don't want to transfer that to her. You realize you had to change. You had to make some adjustments.
Yeah. Mm.
That's a beautiful thing, though.
Yeah. Now she's having her fourth child. So I've got 4 grandchildren.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Beautiful. That's it. That's a huge accomplishment. Yeah. And how does it feel like taking care of your grandkids and and just enjoying them?
Yeah, I mean, when I look at they make my heart melt. When I look at pictures, I'm always taking pictures of them, but when I look at the pictures of them, they melt my heart. They really do. When they see me, they're all nanny. um, yeah, they're really, they are good. It was tiring when I first started having, like the first one. It was tiring because my daughter's 36, and so the eldest one is 7. So there was seemed quite a long time without any children, and I was just getting on with my life. They were getting on with their life, and just adulty things because they're adults. And
Hmm.
then when you've got the children, you kind of have to go back to that, and it's quite
Right.
tiring. But now, no, you just take it as it comes. But they're so funny. They are funny. Yeah,
Beautiful.
yeah, they're really lovely. Yeah,
Some moments to cherish, especially when they're still little. Like,
yeah,
you gotta enjoy those moments, because
and it
when they're gone, they're gone. You just have those memories. It,
goes so quick.
it
It goes
does.
so quick.
It
Um,
does.
that's what I said to my daughter. It goes so quick. They grow up. The eldest is 7 now, and when they're
Hmm.
7, she thinks she's 17. I think. Whereas she was a baby. And they do. They start. They think they're grown up. I've hypnotised my granddaughter, my 7-year-old.
Oh.
She she wanted to be hypnotised. I said to her, what's the issue then? What's wrong? What is it that you want out of it then? Or something like that. And she said, I
Uh-huh.
want confidence. She does dancing and gymnasts, but they had a show and she wouldn't be in the show.
Mm-hmm.
But she was bullied at school when she was 4.5, quite severely.
Oh.
And my daughter took her out of the school. Well, she goes to another one now. Yeah, so she wanted confidence, and so we did that. It was really good, and she still
Beautiful.
has her little hypno crystal, and I got her a little bear which I put some oil on,
Mm-hmm.
so that all the senses were aroused. And because children, when they're hypnotized, they might open their eyes, they fiddle around and everything, but they're quite hypnotic anyway because they're still in that state.
Sage.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you probably wouldn't really do it till they're 8. But she, yeah, we did a little story, and she had a time when she was confident before, and we put it in this story, and
Mm-hmm.
she said she felt good, but sometimes she'd get angry, and she'd throw this sort of tantrum, like, and we think, where does that come from? And she writes it down now. She doesn't have it a lot, but she's got,
Mm-hmm.
I gave her a little book to write in. She does that.
That's beautiful.
Yeah,
It's
but
really beautiful.
that's just something that any child can do, really. But she, yeah, she enjoyed it. It was fun. It
It
wasn't
is.
really, I wasn't really hit. It was putting, and they're quite suggestible anyway. So, but it was helping her think of a time she was confident, or thinking of this animal that she was imagining that was there with her,
Mm-hmm.
giving her this confidence. And I gave her a trigger as well. But what amazed me is she remembers it all. I forgot about the trigger. She said, "Oh, I remember."
That's beautiful. And especially being an environment with somebody like you, having her into that already at her very young age. That's beautiful.
Yeah, it's quite interesting because her father, my daughter's partner, he's not really into any of
Into
that.
that.
No, quite the opposite, really.
But that's
Yeah.
still good because he's open and letting you, still do that, have that practice with his daughter. So, which is
Yeah,
a good thing. He's
yeah. I don't really knew if he knew at the time. I don't know. I didn't ask my daughter. But yeah.
yeah, yeah. So, I want us to talk about you to talk to us about one more very interesting thing as well, black egg.
The black
And
egg.
so, yeah, listeners, I just want to say, Diane does have a podcast as well, and it's the Black Egg podcast. So I want you to talk a little bit about it. And I realized that when you entered your information, the links that you shared, you only did the one for the hypnotherapy. So I need to get the one for your black egg because people who might listen might want to get some, get some more information about black eggs. So maybe to contact you or just to listen to the information or conversations you have on there.
Okay, so when I did the Black Egg podcast, I just thought, oh, I'm going to read some posts on my website, because
Mm-hmm.
some people don't read, they like to listen. And I just thought, oh, I'll read it out and put it on a podcast. And then I thought I'd do some meditations and perhaps some self-hypnosis, how to do self-hypnosis. But then started doing interviews, so I might change the description a little bit as well, because there's a couple of interviews on there as well.
I think
But
that's fine. You can do both of them.
yeah,
It balances out because I want to
it
do
does.
it solo. Yeah. Some
Yeah,
weeks I
like a
really just
solo
want to do
pod.
solo. Uh-huh.
Yeah, yeah. But I hadn't intended on interviewing anyone.
Anyone. Okay.
But a lady asked if she could be on my podcast, so she was on there the other week. And yeah, medium, spiritual medium on
Mm-hmm.
there. So I'll probably change the description of it to obviously hypnotherapy, meditation, and I don't really know how I describe people in different areas of spirituality. I'll have to think about it. But yeah, so it'll encompass all of that. Really, the probably spiritual side of life, whatever that is to someone,
Mm-hmm.
which can incorporate quite a lot, can't it? People do different things. They, it could be an artist that gets gets their inspiration from a download, or spiritually, or from God, or something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I think I'll just just go with the flow and see how it goes.
How
But
it
I
goes.
will be putting meditations or general hypnosis MP3s out there,
Mm-hmm.
so they are general. And there is a self-hypnosis one how to do self-hypnosis. Yeah.
Wow, so there's going to be a lot that people can really gain from, from that site actually, which is a good thing. And
Yeah.
what would you say to somebody who is out there now and they still feel like, oh, we are talking about this mind and body connection, about this our thoughts, trying to be more mindful about our thoughts, and they still feel like this is just not something I can do, or they still feel like stuck and not being able to maybe take that step, or and hone in into it and being able to change your life. I know you're here, and I know you also have clients that you work with. So my intention often is, okay, we have all these guests here. They do have platforms, they do have websites, they do have, some work that they are doing, and they are helping so many people around. So I look out like, okay, the listeners that get this information, it is time to take action, because most of these things we cannot do it ourselves. Because if we were able to do it ourselves, it would have been done. Having people here is showing proof that there is a way, and that you're not alone. You have other people who've gone through issues like that. You had your issue, growing up and all that, being afraid, but you were able to still work through it, doing hypnotherapy, and volunteering yourself and going to seek help, and now you are in that place where you are assisting other people. And it's the same that you want for everybody else, because as you just on your bio, you really want people to get connected to this and being in control of their thoughts and turn things around, not only their health, but as well as in their life, and also pass that to their children and those in their world. So being in this place where you are now, what would you say to somebody who is still there and is still doubting and still have this fear and is still saying no, or feeling like they are not enough, that they can't really do this? What message would you have for them?
Mm. Well, I think the first thing is to connect with someone
Okay.
that you would feel a connection with.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of the time, a lot of this, and a lot of the time people get with addictions and people get down, is a loss of connection for some reason or other. And it could have been in the past, it could have been when they're younger, when they're growing up. But, even if people say they don't need anyone, there is someone out there, and it is about connection. If you can't do it yourself, you do need help, just to talk to someone. So it's like with the AA, their biggest success is because people connect with each other, because they're the same. So it's finding someone that's gone through it and
Mm-hmm.
they've been the same as you. Oh, you're the same as me. Oh, wow, you're the same as me. I connect with you.
Right.
Because that's what you do, isn't it? You don't connect with people that aren't like you. You might associate with them, but to feel a real connection and, feel really good, and I really like them, I get on with them. There's a connection there, because the connection will be, there is something about them that kind of mirrors you. And so
Definitely.
it's a connection. So really, if you can't do it yourself, you do need to reach out. And just try different places, because I believe with places like AA, I believe people do move to different classes, because as they progress on their journey, they grow out of perhaps the group they were with, and perhaps they become more spiritual, and so they connect with a different type of person.
Mm-hmm.
Mm. And that happens in life, doesn't it? As that's what happens sometimes to couples. They grow apart because they're not, you know, they're not the same as when they were younger. They haven't kind of grown together, they've gone separate ways. So it is about connection, finding someone. It's, you know, if you do need help, it's either getting to the appropriate place that you need, like AA or suicide place. What do they call them? The phone lines that you can ring for help. But really, you know, a connection with someone, or, you know, get in touch with a therapist that you feel connected with. Because even with therapy, if you're not connected or you feel connection with that therapist, it's probably not going to work that well, because you're going to feel uncomfortable and not really immerse yourself in it. And that's what I believe it is.
And tap into, you're right. And I also, yeah, what you say is so correct. It's so right. And having that resonating with somebody first is very important. And that's why I believe that having different guests here and people listening, it gives them the opportunity to see with whom they resonate better and seek help. That's why at the end of when I post every episode, I make sure that the contact of my guest is always at the bottom of the description. It gives them that freedom, you know, to go ahead and contact them directly and seek that help that they require. You know, right today we have internet. I'm having people, you know, Diane is in the UK. I'm here in the United States. So with internet and everything now, there is no distance. Whether you're wherever you are in the world, you still have a means to connect. If you feel like Diane is the right person, then you still have the chance to connect with her and see how she can walk you through whatever situation you're going through, what to cross that bridge to the other side so you don't get stuck in this place that you've been. I don't know, maybe it might be 5 years, it might be 10 years, it might be so many years, and you really, really want to get out of it. But so this is for us to be able to take that leap, to make that decision, to actually take action in order to change our lives, because the changes we do in our personal lives, it affects those around us. It shows. And just like Diane said, that will also give us the opportunity to take care of other people, and that spreads out. That's what we want in the world. We want humanity to thrive. I want to see people being happy and living their life, their best life, being able to create that which they love in any area of the life. And sometimes you feel like, oh, I guess life is just this ups and downs, you know, and all this. This is all life is all about. But definitely, that is not what it is, because we have what it takes to move forward. We have what it takes to sit together, to connect with other people who are able to help us, you know, cross that bridge or that which has been holding us back for so long. So, which is a very beautiful thing that we have all these platforms, not only here, but out there. We have many podcasts out now. We have many sites and many people who are so ready to, you know, to be that partner in belief, to be that person who is there to tell you that, you know what, we got this. And they have proven structure of support to, you know, to actually help out, which is a beautiful thing. Yeah. Yeah. So,
It is, and you know, sorry.
go ahead, please.
Sometimes people have to get really, really down, rock bottom, before they decide to turn their life around. And some people will just carry on as they are. And then later on, it hits them. I really need to change. And then, but some people can go along and think, my life's good, got a good family, got a good job, but there's something not right. I don't feel right. Perhaps they're not in the right job. Perhaps, you know, they're in a job, but it doesn't really motivate them. It just doesn't give them that spark.
Right.
And sometimes that can be helped with hypnotherapy, because there might be some small block. So it doesn't always have to be something debilitating or really down. It can, you know, be something where you've lost, you've lost your mojo, lost your momentum and stuff. Sometimes you just need something to spark you back up again.
Right.
Yeah, because as you get older, something might emerge that wasn't dealt with when you was younger, and then it's coming through as you're getting older.
Mm-hmm.
So, it can be good for that as well. But getting back to the healing, because I thought about it when we was talking about it. There was a video on, it may be on YouTube. I saw it a long time ago with, are you familiar with Greg Braden, who works with Joe Dispenza?
Yeah.
Have you seen the video when the 3 doctors were healing the lady of cancer?
I didn't see that one.
So it's on, I don't know where I saw it. I think it was one of his YouTube videos, but I saw it probably 10 years ago, a long time ago. And there was 3 doctors. I believe it was in India. I believe it was a medical place in India that they work on spiritual medicine, and they had their hands, and they were speaking Indian, and what they were saying was heal now, heal now, heal now. And then the tumour was disappearing. And that was only in minutes.
Wow.
Yeah, there was 3 of them. That's quite interesting. Yeah, it just came to my mind when we've been talking about the healing. Yeah.
That just comes to confirm how powerful we are as humans, and the recognition of that power is so important. Knowing that we can do a lot, there is so much we can do, especially when we come together. Yeah.
And I think that's the operative word, recognition. Because once you recognize it in yourself, that's when you can start using it.
Definitely.
Or be conscious of what you're doing.
Yeah.
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 Whew. It's been a great time with you, Diane. And I
Thank
thank you for
you.
this great conversation, for your insights, your experience, sharing it with us. And as you said, you really don't often just share your personal things, with people like that, but you were able to do that with us. You were able to do that with me, and I am grateful. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Yeah, it was great. I really enjoyed it. Yeah, thank you for having me.
No problem. Is there any final thoughts you want to share with our audience out there?
Just really, I think love is the power.
Amen.
Love is healing. Love is one of the highest powers, isn't it?
It is.
And if you can turn any hate words, which are all negative words, so every time you get a word that's not very nice, and turn it to a loving word, a positive word, a nice word. If you do that all the time, your life will change. You will see it change. You could do that in a diary, in a journal. Do it for a month. Start writing down. Start writing down positive words, what you want for the day. Your life will change that way. Just writing out positive statements in your words, what they are. Your life will change, because that sends a loop back. The writing sends a loop back to the mind, doesn't it? And then it becomes a habit, and you'll start thinking those words because they become familiar. That's what it's about. If you keep doing it, it becomes familiar, but you keep thinking about the same old negative things all the time. And I understand people are, go through bad time, but even so, just keep thinking good things, keep thinking love.
Yeah, definitely. And because even thinking about what is negative, or even though whatever we are going through right now, it's not going to serve us, you know, it's not going to serve us. It's never served us in the past, so why would it do now? So I think that's a really important reminder, and thank you so much for reminding that to us today. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah. So we've come to the end of this episode, episode 11. Thanks everyone for listening. Thank you for being here. Take advantage of this, and please, at the end of the description of this episode, make sure you check uh, Diane's contact and listen to her podcast, and also take advantage of the sessions on hypnotherapy that she has on there. You know, she's recorded some juicy stuff that you can take advantage of. So make sure you get it. It's action time. Love you all, and bye for now. Yeah. So we're here.
Says it's recording.